Highty! Welcome back to my channel, Made Between the Pages. My name is Taylor, and today we're going to be doing the How Do You Find Time to Read tag. I was tagged to do this by Jessie over on the Bookish Mom, but I do think that the original tag was made by Working Man Reads, I do believe. So I will be sure to link both Jessie's channel and the original tag down in the comments down below. But I'm really glad that Jessie tagged me in this because this is something that I get questions about or comments about a lot. Not necessarily on BookTube because a lot of us here kind of understand how to make time for reading, but for people in my normal life, I often get asked, how I make time to read because I am a very busy adult. I own a restaurant. I also am a teacher, so I've got a lot going on. I've also got other hobbies, besides reading. I think it's a very valid question and people shouldn't be faulted for asking about it because I think a lot of the general populace views reading at least as an adult after going through, the whole school system, views it as, a task. Not necessarily something to do in your free time. So I can see why people often wonder, where do you find the time? So starting with number one, where is your favorite place to read? My favorite place to read is absolutely 110% my couch. It's right over here off camera. Maybe after I film this, I'll get some, B-roll footage to show you how I like to set up and read. So usually this is my reading setup here in this area of the house. So I usually sit here, I turn on my reading light. I put this small pillow behind my head, put my feet up and just relax. I do my editing usually here. Then sometimes I do sit over here. Look at that squashed face. Yeah, so sometimes I do sit in the egg chair over here with the candle next to me. But recently I've been playing Final Fantasy VII, the remastered. So I've moved the TV from over here to over here. For easy access. But yeah, usually this is the area where I'm just hanging out, where I'm relaxing. It's just my happy place. So I just sit down with the hot beverage over there and read. This couch has a reading light on the other side. I've got my bookshelf next to me. This is definitely my happy place for reading. I like to get a drink, be it, a little bit of wine or be it, hot tea, cuddle up with some blankets and some pillows and just settle in. So this is definitely my place for reading. However, if it's an audiobook, I tend to read those while I'm commuting to and from work. So I usually ride my bicycle to work. So while I'm, doing that 40-minute bicycle ride to and from every single day, I can make progress in my audiobooks. But I'm going to stop myself there because that connects to a later question in the tag. So yes, where do I like to read? If I have a choice, my couch, but I will read anywhere that's plausible. I do tend to read large fantasy books though, so if I have a big physical book reading in my bed, holding it above my head isn't really a plausible option because especially if I fall asleep, I'm going to poke my fucking eye out with, that heavy corner. So some things are not plausible, but I will read anywhere. But if I have a choice, it's going to be my couch. Question number two, do you read every day? No, I don't. I definitely try to at least get a couple pages or a couple chapters read. I'm also currently working on getting a Japanese certification so that I can start doing official translation work, hopefully in the future interpretation work, fingers crossed. So I have a lot of studying that I need to do in my off time while still having jobs. So there are some days where I really do need to prioritize that studying aspect. But thankfully, actually, using reading and studying in tandem with each other has started to work really well for me. So if there's a day where I have a lot of studying I need to do, I'll do my own sprint system where I'll study for, an hour and then read for a half hour and study for another hour, read for another half hour. Or sometimes, the opposite ratio if I'm more in the mood to read. But having actually those two different things work in tandem with each other has actually been really helpful. Recently in trying to read every day, even if I have other things to do. But do I actually read every day? No, I don't. Number 3, do you read out loud to any family members? No, not really. I love my husband to death, but he's not super interested in English books, which is his right. So sometimes, you know, I'll like be freaking out on the couch and he'll ask me what's going on, and I'll give him maybe a summary of the situation that's happening, or, you know, tell him about the basis of the book. But do I actually read passages out loud to him? Not really. Currently, Hayato is the only one that I live with, so there's not really any other options, you know, as a family member to answer this question. So I guess the answer is just no. Number 4 is your favorite career for a character to have, and it specifies that you should give a book example. So for me, I'm really drawn to like assassin, like poisoner characters. Not necessarily just those 2 careers, but careers in books where characters have to be really intelligent in the way they apply their knowledge in order to, you know, solve a situation. One example might be Santia from Foundryside, who is a thief. That's another one that falls under that kind of career umbrella. She uses her powers in that book to be the best thief, you know, in her world, essentially. So I love reading from her perspective and how she uses that to sneak in and steal what she wants to steal. Another example might be Sister Kettle from the Book of the Ancestor. That series isn't a particular favorite of mine, but I absolutely loved the detail put into the poisoning work in this world, and Sister Kettle and her ability to be basically an assassin, a poisoner, a thief, all of those things together. I adore it. Another one would be Inej from Six of Crows. There's so many amazing scenes of her just kicking ass and taking names. I noticed that a lot of these are females, but I'm sure there's gotta be a male character that has this same vibe. Hold on, give me a minute. Yeah, so it's not necessarily that particular career, but it's the exact same vibes, and that would be Locke from Locke Lamora, The Lies of Locke Lamora. He's always using, you know, little tidbits of knowledge to sneak into places and steal things, and, you know, just be fucking everyone up. So I don't know, I love that vibe. So it's more of a vibe than an actual career, if that makes sense. But either way, that is my favorite like career to read about. Okay, number 5 is, do you read at work? So this is the one that connects to when I was saying when I ride my bike to work. So it's not exactly at work, but that's definitely a specified time that I use for books. All the time, every week. Can I actually read at work? Not usually. Being a teacher, at least the type of teacher that I am, is a very active job. I can't be doing anything else. I have to be paying attention to the classroom. So do I read while I'm actually at work? Not really. If I have a break here and there, it depends on if I'll study or I'll read. Sometimes I will read, but my breaks can be interrupted by like students or other teachers or questions. So it's not necessarily like a peaceful time where I can just like sit and really dive into a world. So here and there, but typically, no, I don't really read at work. The next question is actually the last one, so I'm going to throw in like a little bit of a discussion here to kind of answer the general question of like how you read so much instead of specific ones. But you'll notice, even with these answers I've already given, it's a choice. When I have people ask me, how do you find time to read? You know, how do you make that work? It's because I choose to do that instead of other things. I'm terrible at watching TV. Like I'll binge, you know, the first season, the first couple episodes of something, and then I'll forget that it exists, and I'll be using that time instead of watching TV or Netflix or whatever. I'll use that to read. I've mentioned on my channel before that I'm a comfort watcher, so I'll even put on something I've already seen before, and then set that, you know, background noise for reading. So it's a choice to do that instead of other things. And it's not a choice I'm always successful in, but an example could be when you wake up in the morning, instead of doing that scroll that we all do it. We all get on Instagram or Twitter and we doom scroll for a little while in the morning. We all know it's not healthy, and yet we all do it. Exchanging that for reading a book. Now, like I said, I'm not always successful, but like when I'm in that habit of getting up and reading a chapter or two, I feel better. It's better for my mental health. So yeah, it's a choice of switching out other things, because if you have time to do those other things, then you do have time to read. You just have to choose to read instead. Of course, I'm not saying you have to read a ton of books. If you read one book a year, you're a reader, and if you enjoy that, that's wonderful. But if you're particularly asking how to increase that or how to fit that into your life, that would be my answer. Because there are pockets of time that you can carve out, I think, that people aren't realizing they actually have. Honestly, I could do with switching out reading here and there and watching more, because kind of wish I was up to date on like the newest things. I started watching Wheel of Time, watched the first couple episodes and then fell off of that, so I really need to finish that if I'm going to avoid any kind of spoilers for that. I was also really late for Six of Crows, so you know, it's just, not Six of Crows, what was that called? Shadow and Bone. I wish it was Six of Crows. I hate the Shadow and Bone characters, but that's a rant for another time. But I wish I was better at that, honestly. So that's something that I would like to work on. And finally, number 6 is tell me what you're going to read today and tag somebody. So I'm going to be reading Gunmetal Gods tonight. I am actually, you know, I just said I'm not very good at watching things, but I'm actually in the middle of watching Evangelion with a friend. And that's the only way I'll watch things, is if I like buddy watch. So I have a time set tonight. We're going to be watching that. But after that, if I still have, you know, energy inside me, I will be reading Gunmetal Gods, because I'm going to be doing a chat about that over on Steve Talks Books channel with Lana and Laura, from Laura and Lullabies. All three of us are going to be talking to the author of that book, and I need to finish it by that time, but I'm really enjoying it, so I'm excited to get back into that book tonight, hopefully. And I've also been told to tag someone. So I'm going to tag Katie over on Brenya's Katie Reads, because I know she does a shit ton of studying. She's going to be a doctor, and I'm so excited for her. But I want to know how she, because she reads. If you think I read a lot, Katie is incredible with how many books she can get through in a month. So I would love to hear her secrets. I would love to know how she balances that. Someone who's studying as hard as she is with as many books as she reads. So I tag you, Katie. I also tag Sasha from The Wild Sasha, because her job seems really time consuming, and like she constantly has, you know, things that she needs to be doing, but she's always putting out really high quality content, and she's also reading a lot. So I also tag her because I'd love to hear how she does it. And also Sydney from Sid Bookworm. I know she's moving, and she's got, you know, also a really demanding job being, you know, a trauma nurse and all that. So I would love to hear how she manages to read her books as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you have some of these same techniques, if you have the same reading spaces that you enjoy. I would love to chat with you guys in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click that bell. I'd love to have you as part of this community, and I appreciate it. But for now, I'm gonna head out. Johnny!